They thought he was dead. 2 years, no posts, no appearances. A CEO who was once everywhere simply vanished from the face of the earth. Competitors laughed, claiming he was bankrupt. Friends thought he had lost his mind. But on the day he returned, he didn't say a word. He silently swallowed the entire market share of those who once mocked him. What happened during those 730 days of silence? And why does the secret of $1 million empire begin in a dilapidated woodshop at 5:00 a.m.? The answer will change how you make money forever. Welcome to Share Life, a place where every story becomes a small mirror reflecting ourselves. Here, we don't rush. We don't judge. We simply listen to what life is trying to teach us through the stories around us. And from them, we discover what is worth holding on to understand, to grow, and to live better each day. There is a massive illusion in the modern business world that we are often deceived by. The belief that success must be loud. We see million-dollar fundraising announcements, glossy product launches, and we think these are the metrics of growth. But if you observe an ancient tree, you will see a different truth. The higher the canopy reaches, the deeper the roots must plunge into the dark, cold earth. That root system is unseen, unapplauded, but it is the only thing that keeps the tree standing through the storms. Let me tell you about Victor. At 29, Victor was the archetype of a typical startup CEO. High energy, always busy, and present at every networking event. His tech company was always on the front pages of trend magazines. But behind the social media smiles was a balance sheet bleeding red. Victor was building a castle on sand. He was so busy polishing his image that he forgot to reinforce the product's foundation. He went to sleep at 2 a.m. after parties and woke up at 10 a.m. with a splitting headache, rushing to put out fires caused by his own negligence. Everything collapsed the day his biggest investor pulled out. Victor stood on the brink of bankruptcy. In desperation, he sought out Arthur, a retired entrepreneur who owned a silent but colossal shipping empire. Arthur didn't meet Victor in a glass office, but in an old carpentry workshop behind his house at 5 a.m. When Victor arrived, his eyes dark with sleep deprivation, he found Arthur meticulously planning a piece of wood. The smell of pine and total silence filled the space. Arthur didn't look up. He simply asked a gentle question. "Do you know why oak is more expensive than pine?" Victor hesitated and shook his head. Arthur stopped his hands, looking straight at the young man. "Because oak takes decades to mature in silence. It is dense, solid, and fire-resistant. You, however, are trying to build a business like bamboo, hollow on the inside and easily snapped." Arthur handed Victor an old alarm clock and said, "I cannot teach you how to make money fast, but I can teach you how to become solid. Starting tomorrow, wake up at 5 a.m. The first 2 hours of the day are not for working, but for thinking. You must learn to love the boredom of building a foundation." Victor followed the advice, not out of trust, but because he had no other choice. The first mornings were torture. The silence of 5 a.m. drove him crazy because it forced him to confront his own chaotic thoughts. But gradually, that stillness began to cleanse his mind. Instead of scrolling through social media to see what competitors were doing, he used that time to review every line of code, re-examine operational processes, and learn financial management. Dry subjects he had always avoided. He stopped appearing at events. He stopped posting to show off. He disappeared from society's radar. For 2 years, Victor lived like a monk in the marketplace. He used 2 hours every morning to set down roots. He fixed the smallest errors in the product, optimized every cent of cost. He built a system that operated smoothly without his presence. When Victor returned, his company was no longer a loud name in the press, but it had become a massive profit machine. Revenue didn't come from hype. It came from the absolute trust customers placed in a flawless product. Victor's story leaves us with a valuable lesson, not just in business, but in life itself. We are living in an era that worships the surface, where appearance is valued higher than substance. But the law of the universe has never changed. The height of achievement is always proportional to the depth of preparation. True maturity is when you accept doing the things no one sees. At times, no one knows. The discipline of waking up at 5 a.m. is not to brag, "I work harder than you," but to create a sacred space where you can dialogue with yourself, to sharpen your mindset and fortify your inner strength. Do not try to be a shooting star, flashing brightly and then fading away. Be a mountain. The mountain does not need to scream for people to know it is high. It just stands there, towering, silent and eternal. And the process of creating that mountain begins with the first stones laid in the silence of dawn. Start building your roots tomorrow morning while the rest of the world is still asleep, because only deep roots can reach the groundwater of sustainable success. Thank you sincerely for listening. Follow the channel so we can continue exploring these stories together. Wishing you all the very best.